Christopher Nolan's Interstellar just became a masterpiece because it dares to ask what happens when humanity's survival depends on love transcending the laws of physics. When a simple corn farmer receives mysterious messages from his daughter's bedroom, it triggers a chain reaction that leads to humanity's salvation through the power of a father's love. Here's the full interstellar story explained. In 2067, Earth is suffocating because a devastating blight has systematically destroyed crop after crop, leaving only corn as humanity's final food source. The planet's oxygen levels are dropping as the blight consumes what little vegetation remains, forcing governments to abandon space exploration and redirect all resources toward farming. This ecological collapse explains why Cooper, a former NASA pilot, now spends his days tending cornfields instead of flying through the stars. Schools teach children that the Apollo missions were faked propaganda, crushing the scientific curiosity that once drove human progress. 10-year-old Murph's encounters with her bedroom ghost seem like a childhood imagination, but they're actually the first evidence of the film's central time paradox. Books fall from shelves in patterns that spell out "stay" in Morse code, warning Cooper not to leave on the mission that will ultimately save everyone. The gravitational anomalies in Murph's room escalate during a massive dust storm, since the future Cooper has learned to manipulate gravity across time and space. When the dust settles in binary patterns on her bedroom floor, it provides coordinates to NASA's secret facility, setting up the meeting that will change everything. The ghost's messages work because they exploit Murph's scientific curiosity and Cooper's pilot instincts. This demonstrates how the future humans who built the Tesseract understood that saving humanity required the exact right people making the exact right choices at the exact right moments. The coordinates lead Cooper and Murphy to a hidden NASA facility where Professor Brand reveals the truth about humanity's situation. They're not trying to save Earth, they're trying to escape it, as the blight will eventually consume all oxygen, making the planet uninhabitable within Murph's generation. NASA has developed two desperate plans for species survival. Plan A involves solving the gravity equation to lift Earth's entire population into space using massive space stations. But this requires quantum data from inside a black hole that seems impossible to obtain. Plan B represents humanity's backup option because it involves transporting thousands of fertilized embryos to establish a new colony on a habitable planet beyond our solar system. This plan guarantees the survival of human DNA and culture, but it means abandoning everyone currently alive on Earth to die. Cooper's recruitment as the Endurance pilot happens during his combination of flying skills, scientific understanding, and emotional investment makes him uniquely qualified for the mission. Brand needs someone who can navigate the technical challenges of interstellar travel, but he also needs someone whose love for his family will drive him to find a way to save everyone, not just the chosen few. This emotional component proves crucial because it's Cooper's refusal to accept Plan B that ultimately leads to Plan A's success. The Endurance crew's 2-year journey to Saturn reveals the scale of their undertaking, since it takes that long just to reach the wormhole that will transport them to another galaxy. During cryosleep, Cooper dreams of his family while Earth continues its slow death, creating a poignant contrast between the intimate and the cosmic. When they finally reach the wormhole, the passage through this cosmic tunnel represents humanity's first step into a larger universe, where the normal rules of physics no longer apply. The wormhole experience hints at the presence of the mysterious beings who created it, because Amelia sees what appears to be a hand reaching through the distortion. The wormhole isn't just a shortcut through space, it's a gift from humanity's future self to its past. Emerging into the new galaxy, the crew faces an impossible choice between 3 potentially habitable planets orbiting the massive black hole Gargantua. Each planet represents years of travel time and carries the risk of failure, but they can only afford to visit 1 or 2 before their resources run out. This decision-making process reveals the crew's different priorities. Doyle favors the practical choice. Amelia argues for following her heart, and Cooper seeks the logical middle ground that might save everyone. The crew's decision to visit Miller's planet first creates the story's most devastating consequence, because the extreme time dilation near Gargantua means every hour on the surface equals 7 years on Earth. What seems like a quick reconnaissance mission becomes a decades-long absence from the perspective of Cooper's family, transforming his children from kids into adults while he experiences only a few hours of subjective time. The planet itself reveals the danger of making assumptions about alien worlds, because what appeared to be the mountains in the distance are actually 1,000-foot-tall tidal waves created by Gargantua's gravitational pull. Dr. Miller's beacon has been transmitting for years, but she died within hours of landing when the first wave destroyed her ship. Doyle's death during the evacuation demonstrates how quickly hope can turn to tragedy, since a few seconds' hesitation in the face of an approaching wave costs him his life. The damaged ship barely escapes the planet's surface, but the real cost becomes clear when they return to the Endurance and discover that 23 years have passed. Cooper watches decades of video messages from his family, witnessing his son Tom grow up, get married, and eventually give up hope of his father's return, while Murph transforms from a child into a brilliant scientist working to solve the gravity equation. If you're starting to understand how every choice in this story creates massive consequences across time and space, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're about to explore how Cooper's love for his daughter literally breaks the laws of physics, and you won't want to miss how this emotional journey becomes the key to humanity's survival. Dr. Mann's planet initially offers hope, because Mann himself is still alive after years in cryosleep, making him the first successful survivor they've encountered. Mann describes a habitable surface below the frozen peaks where they've landed, suggesting they've finally found humanity's new home. The revelation that Mann falsified his data creates the story's most human betrayal, because it proves that even trained astronauts can break under the pressure of absolute solitude. Mann's planet is actually uninhabitable, with toxic clouds that would kill anyone who tried to breathe the atmosphere. But Mann couldn't face the reality of dying alone on a frozen wasteland. His false signals brought the Endurance crew to rescue him, even though it meant dooming humanity's last hope for survival. Mann's attempt to hijack the Endurance and continue the mission alone demonstrates how survival instinct can override moral reasoning, since he's convinced himself that his life is more valuable than the lives of everyone on Earth. His sabotage of the mission equipment and attempt to murder Cooper reveals the dark side of the explorer's mentality. When faced with impossible choices, even heroes can become villains. Mann's death during his failed docking attempt serves as a warning about what happens when desperation overrides careful planning and teamwork. With the Endurance damaged and falling toward Gargantua's event horizon, Cooper realizes their only chance of reaching Edmund's planet requires using the black hole's gravity as a slingshot. But this maneuver will cost them 51 years of Earth time. This decision represents the story's ultimate test of faith, since Cooper must trust that Murph will solve the gravity equation during those 5 decades, even though he has no way to help her from across the galaxy. Cooper's secret plan to jettison himself and TARS from the Endurance creates the story's most heartbreaking moment, because he sacrifices his own chance of survival to give Amelia enough momentum to reach safety. His decision proves that love can inspire the ultimate selflessness. He chooses certain death to give humanity's future a fighting chance. This sacrifice also sets up the story's resolution, since only by falling into the black hole can Cooper access the quantum data needed to solve the gravity equation. The slingshot maneuver succeeds in sending Amelia toward Edmund's planet, but it also sends Cooper into the black hole's interior, where the normal laws of physics break down completely. Inside Gargantua, Cooper discovers the Tesseract, a 5-dimensional construct that allows him to perceive time as a physical dimension he can navigate and manipulate. The future humans who built this space understood that only Cooper's love for Murph could provide the emotional guidance necessary to transmit the quantum data across time, creating a closed loop where the future enables its own past. This isn't just science fiction. It's a meditation on how love creates connections that transcend physical limitations. Cooper's ability to communicate with both young Murph and adult Murph through gravitational manipulation proves that the ghost was always him, reaching back through time to guide his family towards salvation. The binary coordinates that led him to NASA, the stay message that tried to prevent his departure, and finally the quantum data transmitted through Murph's watch all represent the same desperate father trying to save his daughter across the barriers of space and time. The Tesseract experience reveals that humanity's salvation was always a collaborative effort between past and future, because the advanced humans who built the wormhole in Tesseract needed their primitive ancestors to gather the quantum data that would enable their own evolution. Cooper's rescue and awakening on Cooper's station 124 years after leaving Earth reveals the ultimate success of Plan A, since Murph used the quantum data to solve the gravity equation and lift humanity into space. The massive rotating habitat near Saturn houses millions of people in a carefully constructed environment that recreates the best aspects of Earth while leaving behind the ecological disasters that nearly destroyed the species. The reunion between Cooper and the elderly Murph provides the story's emotional resolution, because it proves that love can indeed transcend time and space to reunite families across impossible distances. Murph's final words to her father, encouraging him to find Amelia rather than watch her die, demonstrate that she's learned the same lesson about love and sacrifice that drove Cooper's original journey. She understands that some connections are too important to be limited by conventional expectations about time and mortality. Cooper's decision to steal a ship and search for Amelia on Edmund's planet creates the story's final act of faith, because he chooses love over safety, adventure over comfort, and reunion over rest. The final shots of Amelia establishing humanity's new colony, while Cooper travels to find her, suggest that their love story will continue across the stars, proving that the connections forged by genuine emotion can survive any separation. Interstellar's genius lies in its demonstration that every effect becomes a cause in an endless chain of love-driven choices. Cooper leaves Earth after he receives messages from the future. But those messages exist because he falls into the black hole, which only happens when he leaves Earth. This paradox resolves through the power of love. Cooper's emotional connection to Murph gives him the strength to make impossible choices, and the guidance to navigate impossible situations. The story proves that humanity's greatest strength isn't technology or intelligence, but the emotional bonds that drive us to sacrifice for each other across any distance or time span. Cooper saves humanity not through superior piloting skills or scientific knowledge, but through his refusal to abandon hope for his daughter's future. Murph solves the gravity equation not through pure intellect, but through her faith in her father's love and her determination to honor his sacrifice. That's the complete story of Interstellar, a tale of how love becomes the force that enables humanity to transcend its limitations and reach for the stars. The film reminds us that in a universe governed by cold physics and harsh realities, the warmest human emotions provide the energy needed to overcome any obstacle. What moment in Cooper and Murph's journey affected you the most? Do you think the Tesseract sequence works as science fiction, or does it work better as pure emotional storytelling? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video if this recap helped you appreciate the beautiful complexity of Nolan's masterpiece. Subscribe for more deep dives into the films that challenge us to think bigger about love, sacrifice, and what it means to be human in an infinite universe.